Hello, my name's Charles Tuminello, and I'm an Italian American, second generation. My grandfather came over from Sicily in the first decade of the 20th century. My mother's side of the family came over from Calabria, Italy, also in the first decade of the 20th century. And my father's family settled in Pittsburgh in western Pennsylvania. My mother's from New York City. I lived in Pittsburgh the first part of my life and eventually found myself in Georgia at the end of the first decade of the 21st century. And here we are today.
I grew up in south central Pennsylvania in an area heavily settled by the Germans and Swiss, so it was a Pennsylvania Dutch type of cooking, and which was quite different from whenever I married into a traditional Italian family and I had to learn how to twirl my spaghetti instead of cut it. And I had to learn things like how to make pizzelles for the holidays, which has turned out to be one of our favorite things.
Okay, so why pizzelles? Why are we making pizzelles today?
Well, pizzelles are one of the, well, they're known as the oldest cookie in the world. And it's a really simple recipe. So you see how old it is. So it's very simple. It's just some flour and some baking powder so it will rise whenever it is in the pizzelle press, which is a lot like a waffle maker.
Yep.
And then we add
Beaten eggs.
And it's not really a big magical order of making things. It really doesn't matter.
Yep.
And I like to get all of those things in. And then the traditional pizzelles use an anise flavoring, which that tastes like black licorice. Some people really like it. Some people do not like it at all. I prefer vanilla, and a lot of people prefer vanilla, and we use the vanilla.
Yeah, vanilla typically tastes
And then you have, cooled and melted butter, which has cooled a little bit too much. But should still be all right. And the butter is really important because it helps keep the pizzelles from sticking to the pizzelle iron whenever you're making them. Okay, so we have our batter and we have our pizzelle iron set up. And the whole thing about the pizzelle iron is this snowflake pattern, which makes them really pretty. They're kind of like a really, really thin, crispy waffle. And you put about a round teaspoon, about the size of a walnut, on each one, because we're going to close this and clamp it. And then we need 35 seconds. So we're right about here at 35 seconds. We unclamp and we open.
And we have beautiful pizzelles.
And we have beautiful pizzelles that we very carefully take off. You can have them flat, or if you want to have cannoli while they're still hot, you roll them, and then later on you put a delicious ricotta and confectionate sugar and chocolate chip filling in there, and they are just heaven.
Yep. There you go. All right, make pizzelles.
Yes, make pizzelles, and if you want me to do it again, I can do it again in case you need to edit something.